Hello, 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 and welcome to the Baseball Show. That's Uncle Ralph Lifshitz. I'm your host, James Singleton. We're here to talk some baseball with you today, specifically three hitters in Odor, Jose Ramirez, and the great Korean import, Eric Thames. Thames?
Thames.
You know who I'm talking about.
Thames. Yeah.
We want to thank you for tuning into Nickel Press TV. We want to thank everybody who's been watching these videos. We are truly, truly, truly blown away by your support, dedication, the number of subscribers, the number of likes, the number of comments, the number of views. It's been overwhelmingly insanely positive. We are the fastest growing fantasy baseball show on YouTube as a result of it. So thank you all for that. We greatly appreciate it, and we hope we keep you sticking around as we wrap up these player previews heading into your draft. We're going to get into a weekly show where we'll have guests on and we'll talk anything that's been going on in the news around the baseball world, trends we've seen with players, the like. We're going to do a live show on Tuesday nights, and then we'll whittle that down and condense it into a 20-minute highlight reel for Thursday. So that's the plan going forward. Like I said, thanks for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please hit pause right now, click subscribe, and then resume play. You can also check out the Player Library playlist, which features everybody we've talked about to this point, individualized, isolated, for your convenience, alphabetized. Scroll through, pick one out, hit play, and learn what we have to say. All right, so let's dive right into things, Ralph. We're going to start with Odor, and I don't know if I say that right, but it's pretty kind of ironic because it sounds like rugged, and we've seen that this guy is very tenacious and scrappy. Jose Bautista can tell you that firsthand. He is currently being drafted as the 6th second baseman overall. The fact that this guy put up 33 homers, stole 14 bases, and didn't kill you in batting average, yet only finished around the top 10 mark at second baseman in 2016, just shows you the depth of the position. As I mentioned, as such, he's being taken as the 6th second baseman off the board at the keystone position. But it's going to cost you. Still 40th overall. So people are putting a premium and an emphasis on the keystone position. Let me see. He just turned 23. There's room to believe there's even more to come from Odor moving forward. His ISO was 30th at 231 in the league. His hard hit rate was 59th. And while he struck out a career-high 21.4%, he did it with relatively unlucky BABIP numbers of 297. That was good for 95th in the league. Think about that. He struck out a tremendous amount of time, still batted 270, and had 95th rated BABIP. Like that, there's room for improvement there is what I'm getting at. We've seen how tough and scrappy he is, as I mentioned. I think he's personally on the verge of being talked about as one of the top 3 second basemen in the league. It's kind of a buy low opportunity for where he's going at his position. I'm more than okay with that. If I'm looking at him, Dozier, and Cano around that same time frame, I'm just as happy with Odor as I am with those two veterans. That's how on the fence I am for Odor this year. Talk me down from this ledge.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head. Is the ADP seems absolutely preposterous when you really look at it. There's some concerns here, but at the same time, he just turned 23 years old as a 22-year-old for a full season. Guy had 30 homers, he had double-digit steals. The batting average was certainly acceptable. He hits in a good lineup. He hits in a good park. He makes a lot of contact, and he rarely makes soft contact. More than he even makes hard contact, he rarely makes soft contact. He has the great power speed profile. There's a lot to like here. I think in terms of the batting average, I'm not so confident that there's a whole lot more ceiling from where he was around 270. I think that's about as good as he's going to be. The BABIP, while it wasn't lucky, it was relatively neutral at 297. He's a pull-happy hitter. Typically, with a pull-happy hitters, it's going to keep his homers high, especially in that park. But it might hurt his batting average a little bit in terms of, he's not the type of hitter that's going to be spraying into all fields. I think he's, 40% plus pull guy. He is definitely swing happy. He rarely ever walks. 12% swing and strike rate, which isn't great. But he sees the ball, he hits the ball hard, and he has, the power and the speed upside. That's really what you're buying with Odor. In the range where he's going, I trust him a lot more than Brian Dozier, who has some of the same sort of concerns. If it's an OBP league, I think I probably might, redraft. I probably bump Cano and Dozier a little bit higher. But, if we're just talking straight 5x5 roto, I'd much rather own Odor.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's weird because, like I said, he's the 40th player being drafted overall, but yet the sixth second baseman. So it's kind of weird because it seems like he's not getting the respect he should, but then at the same time he is being top 40.
Sure.
So I'm more than okay. I think he justifies that position. So I'm perfectly fine with Odor, and I would like him in more places than not.
Can I ask you an either-or question? Would you
Sure.
rather have Odor or Trey Turner next year?
The philanthropist might just be my current favorite player, not named Jacob deGrom. So that's yeah. I can't give you an honest answer with that one. It's Turner all day for me.
And the ADP is probably at least 12 to 13 spots higher. So I mean, you're paying for those steals with Turner, and I think that there's probably equal risk with both. But yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting question.
I feel safer with Turner, batting average, steadiness, and those steals,
Yeah.
double. So a guy that I'm not sold on, convinced of wanting is Cleveland Indian re-revelation. I say re-revelation because he had a very nice 2014 season, which, finished in similar fashion to what he put together for 152 games in 2016. I'm talking about Jose Ramirez. His versatility, he gives you some options positionally, 300 average, decent steals total, but he's not a burner. I mean, he's a handful steal kind of guy, maybe 15 max, 20 on spry, but not something like, you're dropping everything to, go chase him for.
Sure.
By comparison, his 2015 season wasn't awful or out of the norm, except for the 70-point swoon on his batting average. Other than that, everything else was pretty much in line. So is he a 300 hitter or is he not? Well, he's been close to a 300 hitter pretty much everywhere he's been throughout his career. So I think 2015 was more an aberration on his line than, something to really cause concern about. But the thing about it is, you take away the biggest thing that should, blip on the radar is the 76 RBI he had in 2016. Those grossly deviate from, the type of hitter he's traditionally been and speak to luck more than anything else. I mean, he finished tied for fifth in the majors with a 355 batting average with runners in scoring position. Just side note, thank you, Jake Hall, for providing where that stat could be found. That's the good Jake, by the way. But anyway, I think he's riding high right now for the success he and the Indians had last season. I think his name has been elevated much more than what he's worth as a fantasy player. So would I roster him? Yes, if he fell to me, but no way near an 8th round price tag. And if I'm in Dynasty, I personally think I'm trying to sell high while I can.
Yeah, and before we get into Jose Ramirez, I just want to say last year in the second half and then during the playoffs, when this guy seemed to be the most clutch hitter in baseball, it seemed like our fellow friend and Cleveland Indian fan Jared Miller was saying, damn, Jose Ramirez coming up with another big hit. Want a big shout out to Jared, as well as his wife and his soon-to-be-born second child. He's actually in the hospital right now with his wife as they're giving birth. So big shouts to him. Good luck with everything. But, one thing
I wanted to add to that. They probably made this baby celebrating Jose Ramirez. So in honor of that, maybe they should name their baby after Jose Ramirez. And if it's a girl, Josie Ramirez. So there you go.
I was going to say Miller. They should name it Miller. It's like a unisex name. Andrew Miller carried him into the World Series. That's all I'm saying. Biggest acquisition of the trade deadline last year. But let's get back on track. With Jose Ramirez, there's some great stuff here. The things that I like about Jose Ramirez is he's an elite bat-to-ball contact hitter, 88% contact rate. He brings the speed profile, so though he hits a lot of ground balls, he's somebody that can leg out an infield hit, sort of turn, a deep single into a double. He's got that sort of speed. He's an excellent base runner. I know you said that you think he's more of a 15 steal guy. I think he is the 20 steal guy that he was last season. I don't have any questions as to that. He also rarely strikes out. He had a 4.9% swing and strike rate. He's a lot like Dustin Pedroia in that sense. Makes a lot of good contact. Rarely swings and misses, and obviously coming from a small guy as well. He's also a guy that when he swings at a pitch out of the zone, which he rarely does, when he does swing at a pitch out of the zone, he has the highest contact percentage of any player in the major leagues. Doesn't make a lot of soft contact, a lot like Rugden or Odor, makes a lot less hard contact. He makes a lot of medium contact. I believe that he led the major leagues in medium contact. So he's somebody that doesn't kill the ball, has exit velocity. He's not going to somebody that's going to jump off the page, but I think he's got excellent control of his bat head. He's able to put the ball to all fields. But I think the big question is the power. I don't think the 11 home runs is indicative of the kind of player that he is. I think he's more of a single-digit home run guy with the 20 steal speed, probably a good batting average. The problem is this year he's not going to have the same versatility he had last year when he was a Swiss Army knife, a guy that had second base, shortstop, third base, outfield eligibility. If he has that, I think he's a very useful player. As a third base only guy, a 280 hitter with 8 home runs and 20 steals, that's just not cutting it. He's somebody that I could maybe see as a utility player, but he's not somebody, once again, that I'm going to be reaching in drafts to own. If people are buying into the numbers last year, want to have him as their starting third baseman, good luck. Let him do it. Even in deep leagues, I'd probably stay away. There's a lot better third base gambles to make.
Yeah, is he a top 100 player to you? Is what it comes down to, because he's the 96th player off the board right now.
No, he's a top 100 hitter, but he's definitely not a top 100 player overall. Absolutely not.
Just to put this into perspective, some of the third basemen being drafted after him include Evan Longoria, Javier Baez, Michael Franco, Justin Turner, Jake Lamb, Hernan Perez, Moustakas Castellanos, Eugenio Suarez, Yuli Gurriel. That's a crazy list. Your boy, Skinny Panda. That's a crazy list going after him.
Yeah.
So while he might be good for Jared to name his newborn after, I don't think he's good for your fantasy team. So I would avoid Jose Ramirez if he could. And kind of leads us into a very, very, very polarizing and intriguing player in Eric Thames.
The question mark. That's his nickname. Let's make the T-shirt. Eric Thames, the question mark. He's the Riddler.
The question mark. I like it. I love it, actually, because some of you may know we've been coining some nicknames for some of these players we've talked about. I like the question mark. He's the 45th outfielder being drafted right now, 197th overall. That's a 16th round grade. He's already being projected to be the first baseman for Milwaukee. So he will give you that eligibility. Should, depending on your league, keep outfield eligibility because that's where he's currently listed. So you might have some dual citizenship there and some flexibility. But let's get into what this guy is. He's flashed power in the past when he was in the majors, but he couldn't secure enough regular at-bats, and he took his act overseas. His KBO, those of you unfamiliar with that, Korean Baseball Organization, his KBO line from last year was absurd. 371 average, 40 homers, 118 RBIs, 117 runs scored, and 13 stolen bases on top of it. Just to put that into perspective, he hit 381 with 47 homers and 140 RBI the year before. He hit 37 home runs the year before that. Well, guess what? You know who else was hitting home runs in the KBO and then at an even higher rate? Yes, if you answered with Byung-Ho Park, you would be correct. And we have now seen how that transitioned and played out against Major League pitching. So you say Eric Thames is American. He doesn't have to transition to this culture. He knows the language already. The only problem is he's still not fluent in Major League pitching. Okay? Everyone hits 20 home runs right now. So the power is intriguing because, yes, maybe he could be a 30, 40 home run guy. But the average figures to be similar to what it was before he left. So I'm not really buying the fact that he's just going to come over as a 30-year-old and he's figured everything out and he's going to make the transition seamlessly. He's going to speak, we say, broken English in New York, or Spanglish, for instance. That's what he's going to be in the major leagues. He's going to speak a broken language. He's a project worth keeping an eye on, but if you're asking for an awful lot to change in recent transitions to compare his to, I think you're asking for way too much.
So you're saying that Eric Thames speaks Karanglish in baseball talk? Karanglish?
Yes.
But yeah, I'll call this guy the question mark because I have no idea what to think with Thames. There are some things you read, particularly projections, which I'm going to get into because I'm not smart enough to project out what his numbers are. I don't have a conversion calculator for KBO to MLB numbers. We saw, Gong with Pittsburgh come in and obviously hit relatively well. He's been a solid player. Off the field stuff has sort of, hampered him a little bit. Park was an absolute disaster. And it's not unheard of for an American to go overseas, figure some things out, come back and have big numbers. That's what happened with Cecil Fielder many, many years ago. Went to Japan after playing with the Blue Jays, which is similar to Thames. Came back and really, became the home run king in Major League Baseball with the Tigers before he got too fat to play Major League Baseball. But enough with a history lesson. In terms of Thames, he's got elite bat speed. You can see it when you watch him. He had it when he was here the first time. I think that bodes well that he did know how to hit the long ball. It was just a matter and a question of playing time. I think he's going to get that with Milwaukee. He'd really have to struggle to end up being replaced. Let's keep in mind, they cut more or less the home run king of baseball last season in Chris Carter and then signed this guy. And Carter was under a team-friendly contract at that. So there's a lot of faith within the Brewers organization in Thames. There's a lot of faith within the projection community with Thames. The numbers are absolutely absurd. So let's just go through three different projection systems. Depth charts, which is, I believe, a composite ranking of Streamer and Zips. Depth chart had him at 259 batting average, 336 on base percentage, 504 slugging with 30 homers and 12 steals. Steamer had him at 272, 350, 515 with 29 homers and 13 steals. And Steamer is typically relatively conservative with their numbers. And then Zips is the low man. And I think this is probably more in line with what I'm expecting if it's for real and it translates. 247 batting average, 321 on base percentage, 493 slugging with 26 homers and 10 steals. This guy is the risk-reward pick of 2017. I think we're going to take a chance on him in a couple of leagues just because I like to diversify and I play in about 1,000 freaking leagues. But I have some questions with Thames. Like I said, those projections, when you read them, that's really exciting. If that's a guy that you can land where he's going and he can put up those sort of numbers, that's an absolute steal that can help you win a league. So I think where he's going, I think the risk is worth it in case that's there. And at worst, if it's a redraft league, you cut bait and you move on to somebody else.
Yeah, I think you translated that perfectly, I should say, because for where he's going, I can totally see him hitting 30 homers and stealing, 10 to 15 stolen bases. That's just what he is. And as we've seen recently with the power surge in Major League Baseball, everybody literally, if you get any sort of regular at bats, you could just lock in 20 home runs. It's like getting 200 for writing your name on the SAT. That's what it's become now. So for him to get to 30, though, that is now becoming more than the 45th outfielder. So yes, I absolutely think, for where you're getting him, he could certainly meet those numbers. I just think when people start to project the lofty, over 300 average, the 40 plus homers, to get to those numbers, those are just ridiculous. I also noticed, there were a lot of transitions there from Cecil Fielder, Yankee, to Chris Carter, now Yankee, to Eric Thames, the question mark. Speaking of another superhero, he kind of looks like Spawn, right? The guy who played Spawn, he looks all jacked up and stuff now. So yeah, a lot of transitions.
Huge.
I don't know where I'm going with this. Let's wrap things up. Jared, congratulations. This has been the Baseball Show. Follow us everywhere you can find us: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, you name it. We're there. Subscribe, like, comment on these videos. We'll see you next time. And don't forget, check the player library. Thanks. See you later.